morning and welcome to Mission Control Houston. You're looking at the International Space Station Flight Control Room and the specialists on duty to monitor the operation of all station systems and work with the Expedition 59 crew members as they move through their day's activities. Commander Oleg Kononenko and his crewmates have spent this week focused on the science research mission of the station, from an experiment focused on kidney health to one using the station as a perch from which to watch the Earth breathe.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Isidro Reyna. The science continues on board the International Space Station. Carbon dioxide is one of the most important and long-lived greenhouse gases. In fact, increases in atmospheric carbon dioxide, both man-made and natural, are responsible for about 2/3 of the total energy imbalance that is causing the Earth's temperature to rise. The Orbiting Carbon Observatory 3 experiment, which arrived at the station May 6, will give scientists the first opportunity to watch the Earth breathe from space. We know that local carbon dioxide levels rise and fall during the day with changes in emissions and photosynthesis rates, but these changes are measured sparsely worldwide. The experiment will observe how carbon dioxide concentrations change throughout the day in many parts of the globe, in both large industrialized cities and surrounding croplands. This is another step toward monitoring emission hotspots, volcanic eruptions, and other local carbon sources from space. Understanding carbon sources can aid in forecasting increased atmospheric heat retention and reduce its long-term risks. Serious medical conditions caused by poor kidney health can occur more often in space. The Kidney Cells experiment examines how kidney health is affected by microgravity and other factors of space travel, including increased chemical exposure, water conservation and recycling, and altered dietary intake. Knowledge gained can help protect the health of astronauts and also contribute to better treatments for kidney-related conditions on Earth. Learning the results of this research on the space station is critical as we look to send humans on longer space missions and set our sights on sending astronauts to the moon by 2024. This week's question comes from Bill, who asked why space is the place to perform many of these experiments versus Earth. Space is unique because it allows scientists to remove gravity from the equation, giving them an entirely new environment to study everything from human health to physical processes only happening on extremely small scales. We may not know yet what will be the most important discovery gained from space station, but we already have some amazing breakthroughs. In the areas of human health, telemedicine, education, and observations of Earth from space, there are already demonstrated benefits to human life. Vaccine development research, station-generated images that assist with disaster relief and farming, and education programs that inspire future scientists, engineers, and space explorers are just some examples of research benefits. Keep sending in your questions using the hashtag AskNASA. We'll see you next week.
Serving as a one-of-a-kind laboratory for scientific research is a big part of the mission of the International Space Station. It's providing a place for experiments that can't be done on Earth. Another station goal is helping us prepare for future human exploration of space. The rodent research experiment covers both of these goals. Rodent research is a twofold investigation into the treatment of muscle loss in space, which may have implications for patients on Earth with muscle wasting diseases. The experiment studies the effectiveness of a drug compound as well as the nanochannel drug delivery implant.
We're testing the drug as well as the device. Sarcopenia or muscle wasting is a big burden on the healthcare system currently. So the results from this study will provide us with valuable information on understanding the mechanism of action for the drug that we're testing. Now, the other unique aspect of it is the nanochannel delivery system that is implanted in the mice.
These nanochannel membranes are microfabricated with the same type of technology that you use for make computer chips. Because we have realized that if we take channels that they are that small, and we use them as a rate-limiting membrane, we can achieve a very steady and controlled delivery of the drug without any sort of pumping mechanism on board of our implants. So that makes a very small, very effective implantable delivery system.
The big goal is that we're making humanity better, and we're helping our generation and the next generations live longer and better. So at the end of the day, if we can accomplish that, it makes it all worth it.
Now, science in the laboratory is just a part of the mission of the International Space Station. It also encourages the commercialization of spaceflight and space research and international cooperation, and helps prepare us for the next steps in space exploration, including returning to the moon by 2024. Teams across America and in Europe that are part of NASA's Orion, Space Launch System, and Exploration Ground Systems programs are developing the spacecraft, the rocket, and the ground systems needed to send human beings to their next destination beyond Earth orbit. Returning to the moon by 2024 is a goal, but it's also a step on the path of future exploration. Putting boots on Mars is part of the goal, too. And everything in NASA's space exploration history of 60 years is coming together to make that dream a reality.
So you want to go to Mars? How does NASA's history prepare us for future exploration? NASA has been exploring space for 60 years. In that time, we've learned a lot that will help us with future missions. First, NASA learned how to build and launch rockets into space. Then NASA learned how to send astronauts, who performed spacewalks, rendezvous and docking maneuvers, and tested new technologies to prepare us to go to the moon. During the Apollo missions, humankind explored the lunar surface and proved that we can walk on other worlds. After the Apollo program ended, NASA returned to low Earth orbit, but with longer, more complex missions. Skylab, America's first space station, taught us important lessons about living in space. The Space Shuttle kicked off a series of regular missions advancing astronaut training, launch capabilities, and on-orbit operations. The Space Shuttle enabled us to build the International Space Station, expanding our ability to use space for scientific research and teaching us how to make a permanent home away from Earth. Astronauts still live there today. Building on 60 years of knowledge and discovery prepares us to go farther than humanity has ever gone before. To find out more, go to this NASA website.
In supporting plans for future space exploration, the International Space Station is letting the engineers who are developing the spaceships of the future work out the issues with the systems they're designing to support the astronauts who will make those trips beyond Earth orbit one day. Systems such as those that will provide clean water. In this installation of the demonstration video series, astronaut Drew Feustel discusses the water recovery system used to recycle crew wastewater for consumption.
Hi, I'm NASA astronaut Drew Feustel. Welcome to the International Space Station. On our station, our water recovery system is vital to our mission and our survival. Want to know why and how we recycle and filter our water? Let's go. We use water recovery and filtration because it is expensive to launch resupply missions, and the weight of the water is a problem as well. Think about the weight of a single bucket of water. Can you imagine the weight of water for a month's supply for 6 people on the International Space Station? What about the water for a year or more when we leave low Earth orbit for deeper space missions? That's a lot of water, and bringing it with us is not very efficient. On station, we recycle wastewater to get fresh drinking water. This recovery and filtration process includes our urine, moisture we exhale, and sweat, along with the water we use to bathe and shave. It works like this. When we use the bathroom, urine is collected and pumped to a distillation assembly. The assembly spins, pulling the urine to its walls. The urine is heated to evaporate water from the waste and then condensed in the outer chamber to form distillate. Next, the water is pumped to a tank where it is joined with the water recovered from cabin air created by crew sweat and respiration. Down the line from there, odors and any other contaminants are removed with heat. Then iodine is added for microbial control. Our water is checked often to ensure it meets water quality requirements. It is also monitored closely for bacteria, pollutants, and proper pH. The pH scale ranges from 0 to 14 and is a tool used by scientists to measure the strength of an acid or base. Our water is required to be in the 6.0 to 8.5 range. The end result of the entire process is clean drinking water that we get to enjoy every day. The recycled water on the space station is sterile. There's no odor or bad taste. You've seen that water recycling is critical for long-duration missions, such as here on the space station, and will be for future trips to the Moon or Mars. Be sure to check out the activity connected to this video so you can learn more about water filtration. Thanks for learning with me, and I'll see you next time.
Lessons from space during the year of education on station, like the one Drew Feustel taught, were designed to help students and their teachers on the ground in their study of science, technology, engineering, and math. It was an effort that built on an example set by a teacher more than 30 years ago.
Reach for it. Presented by Science at NASA. In August 1984, President Ronald Reagan announced NASA's plan to send one of America's finest, a teacher, to space aboard Space Shuttle Challenger. Of 11,000 aspirants for the adventure, 37-year-old high school teacher Krista McAuliffe from Concord, New Hampshire, was chosen. As the first teacher traveling to space, she planned to conduct science demonstrations from low Earth orbit to get students, quote, excited about history, about the future, and about space, end quote. Tragically, Challenger broke apart soon after liftoff on January 28, 1986. There were no survivors, and McAuliffe's planned demonstrations were shelved. International Space Station astronauts Joe Acaba and Ricky Arnold have brought McAuliffe's mission full circle by completing and filming on orbit her envisioned lessons as a tribute to her legacy. U.S. crew members aboard the station have also performed and captured other brief, engaging lessons, or STEmonstrations. As part of the Year of Education on Station, NASA has made all of the demos available to classrooms around the world. Chromatography is one of the most interesting McAuliffe lessons Acaba and Arnold have brought to life. It provides hands-on activities for students to understand the importance of capillary action and chromatography, and compare how they work in microgravity versus on Earth. Capillary action occurs anytime a liquid spontaneously flows into a narrow tube or porous material. It's how plants get water from their roots to their leaves. It's how our blood makes a round trip through our bodies. And it's how those paper towels soaked up the orange juice you spilled this morning. Chromatography is a technique that uses capillary action to separate mixtures so they can be analyzed. On Earth, chromatography is used for activities such as studying samples at a crime scene. Chromatography is an essential technique for spaceflight, too. For instance, keeping crew persons safe from contaminants includes analyzing unknowns, which can be critical on long space missions. An example of a Year of Education STEmonstration features NASA astronaut Randy Bresnik's slingshotting objects of all sizes across the inside of the space station with a bungee cord. He's illustrating how Newton's second law of motion holds true in microgravity, just like on Earth. Simply put, Newton's law states that the greater the mass of an object, the more force it will take to accelerate it. Year of Education on Station also included more than 60 opportunities for hundreds of students and teachers to connect via in-flight education downlinks with astronauts aboard the space station for live question and answer sessions. Participants ask questions about all aspects of living and working in space.
Hi, my name is Ramsey, and my question is, have you ever had the idea to get a lot of water, pour it out, and see what happens?
See how it just sticks to my hand? It just waves there. It doesn't really go anywhere. It just sticks right to the surface, so I could drink my lemonade right from my hand.
How do you grow plants in microgravity without soil and water getting everywhere?
One of the plants actually uses pillows that are impregnated with moisture and the nutrients they need. We have another advanced plant habitat that I've been working on where there's a reservoir in the water. It's all very controlled, pretty much soil-free. The important thing is nutrients and water.
Hi, I'm Lexi. Would a yo-yo work in microgravity?
I didn't have a lot of time to practice, so here we go. My first yo-yo. So it works, but it's a little bit different. So thanks for the question and letting me find out if they do work.
With the Year of Education on Station, NASA's goal was to do what Krista and her optimism did so well: inspire students and teachers to, quote, reach for it, push yourself as far as you can, end quote. For more on NASA's Year of Education on Station, go to www.nasa.gov/STEMOnStation. For other inspiring NASA happenings, visit science.nasa.gov.
Expedition 59 flight engineer Nick Hague was the first member of the 2013 astronaut class to make it to space. He was just a few months ahead of his classmate Anne McClain and then his other classmate Christina Cook. But Hague is quick to say that his 2 space flights, like most everything he's done in his life, are the result of a team effort.
I grew up in western Kansas, and I love figuring out how things work. When I was young, I liked breaking things and putting them back together. My entry into aviation started as a flight test engineer. I was an engineer working in a laboratory designing satellite systems and was accepted into the Air Force Test Pilot School. But I think that the amazing experience was just the breadth of airframes that I was able to explore and to test out. Everything from the most complicated fighters that we have out there to home-built aircraft. And that diversity of exposure really scratched my engineering itch to really get an understanding of what aviation's about. So my wife and I are both graduates of the Air Force Academy. The Air Force is the only way we would have ever met. My wife is from New York, I'm from Kansas. Our paths would have never crossed, so we owe everything to the Air Force and the Air Force Academy for bringing us together. We're both in service. We're both committed to serving our country. But more importantly, I think it's committed to serving something larger than ourselves. It's all about teamwork. Every assignment I've had, I've been part of a team. And that idea of you're going to be reliant on the people around you for success and defining your success not on your accomplishments, but on the team accomplishments, that's something that Air Force instilled in me and gave me the opportunity to grow and refine. Human space exploration is the ultimate team sport. We've got a team of 6 people on orbit. We're going to have a team of 5 people on orbit for my expeditions. We've got a team of over 100,000 people on the ground that are supporting us on a daily basis. You don't do these things individually. There's no success that's gained individually in space exploration. It's all about the team. I'm Colonel Nick Hague, and I'm a NASA astronaut.
Robotic technology that was originally developed for the International Space Station has found a way to help humans here on Earth in the operating room. The company that developed and built the space station robotic arm has worked with a medical device manufacturer to create an automated robotic arm that tracks the movement of a surgeon's tools and helps to expedite brain and spinal surgeries.
The International Space Station is probably the most fantastic vehicle ever built.
It's a one-of-a-kind laboratory orbiting about 250 miles above the Earth.
And we perform experiments on the International Space Station.
We can do science, we can do experiments, we can learn how to do things out of this world.
And the result will help benefit the people on the ground.
So not only that, but we're also seeing benefits of how we actually assembled the space station.
So the International Space Station in its design was essentially designed like a Lego toy. Lots of big pieces that need to be put together. Some of these pieces are going to be about the size of a city bus.
We needed a way of manipulating or moving these big pieces and very precisely putting them together.
Canada worked with its contractor, which was MDA, and with that company came up with a design that was going to meet the needs of the International Space Station.
The solution to that was using a fairly large robotic arm. And that system ended up being Canadarm2. It could move around the space station, grab payloads, move them to where they needed to be so that the space station could be assembled.
You couldn't have built a vehicle like the International Space Station without a robotic system like this.
And that was when we started talking to Synaptive Medical.
Knowing that MDA has done this before in space, we thought it would be very easy for them to bring that experience and that technology into the neurosurgical area and help us with our medical robotics. We worked with MDA to create Drive. Drive is a robot mounted onto a base that holds a surgical camera that can be automatically positioned to any surgical instrument that's tracked by our system.
What this arm does, it follows you and it tracks you, so it speeds up efficiency.
Ultimately, using the Drive system allows the surgeon to have shorter surgical times, which means shorter recovery times for the patient, and ultimately that's better for the hospital and the patient.
But what the robot does for us is that it allows us to do it safer. You can do it better with less harm to the patient.
The software that runs on the Drive system is directly derived from the software that runs the Canadarm2 on the International Space Station.
Those robotics work with and alongside an astronaut to enhance what they do. So that connection is a very direct and real one.
Right now, it's probably the most used system that we could say is derived from the things we did on Space Station, and we're pretty proud of that.
And I've seen the arm before, we've seen it on the space station, but, I never put the two and two together that I'd have the same arm in the OR at some time now.
I think everybody has this dream of how robotics are going to become more and more a part of everyday life. The things that we do with robotics on the space station is basically pushing those dreams forward. And we evolve the system, we gain the knowledge, we gain the experience, the expertise. So this is kind of the unexpected benefits that we get out of doing a program like the International Space Station.
If you'd like to get another look at any of the stories we featured today, you can. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook at those addresses. They're conveniently displayed on your NASA TV screen. And while you're there, check out lots of other cool stuff that you can find about NASA and America's human spaceflight program. And while you're out there on the internet, you should also check out Houston, We Have a Podcast. That's folks here at NASA talking about their work in all aspects of space exploration. We post new episodes on Fridays, and today, in recognition of the May 18th 50th anniversary of the launch of Apollo 10, the last rehearsal of the first moon landing, we let you in on a recent discussion of that mission and its impact on subsequent missions. This features astronaut Tom Stafford, the man who commanded Apollo 10 and later the Apollo-Soyuz test project, America's first cooperative flight with the Russian space program. Go to nasa.gov/podcasts for today's episode, as well as the full library of all of the NASA podcasts, all of which you can also listen to on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. This is Mission Control, Houston.